So, last time we got shot. Well, we didn't get shot, sorry. Another dirty communist got shot, which is okay, because he was probably going to oppose us anyway. So that's okay. Enemies are being cleaned out by the Young Swords, which was the group that we were part of. It's got to come to some decisions. We decided to build a railway to help the wealthy people. We bought stocks, so that's fun. Hopefully those return well. I did a bit of research into it. You can probably hear the keyboard furiously tapping away to see what the consequences were. This game does not have a great Wikipedia. The guy who's done it is a saint. But it's not exactly the it's not very fleshed out. So there's a lot of questions that people have about sort of what is going on. What the consequences for certain decisions are. But that's okay. Obviously, the radical is happy with Bernard. These people don't like this. Whatever, I don't care. We're going to be dictatorial. All right, so threats against Sordland. Here we go. Right in front of the doors leading to the Situation Room. Today's security briefing was arranged in two parts, starting with internal matters and moving on to external matters after a short break. The Minister of Interior, Lilius Graf, and the Minister of Justice and Law, Nia Morgana, would join us for the first part, the law enforcement briefing. For the second part, the Minister of Defense, Josef Lencia, would join for a few high-ranking officials, or with a few high-ranking officials, including the Chief of the Armed Forces, Walt Kruger. This guy's an idiot. He's quite stupid. He's like an old, imperialist, Tsarist dude, so I don't really care what he has to say. Lucien Glade nodded at Lucien. Everyone in the room sat down except for Lucien. He put on his glasses and went through the documents in front of him. Shortly thereafter, he raised his head to address the attendees. Mr. President, ladies, we'll kick off today's meeting with the internal security briefing. I'm assuming everyone has already been over the agenda. We all have very busy schedules. Without further ado, I'll jump on to our first topic. As we feared, the political atmosphere has worsened. The reports around the country indicate that tensions are rising as we feared. What is the status on the Bernard Circus investigation? We received news this morning that the investigation of the murder is concluded. Please enlighten us. Further investigation, testimony, and confirm the motive and the events leading up to the shooting. A few days prior, members of the Red Youth initiated a violent attack on the Young Swords leader in Jen. The Young Swords then called for revenge, leading to the death of Mr. Sirkas. So, we were part of this one, so we kind of got to stick to these boys. They are kind of evil, but that's okay. I think I'm trying to see, because maybe banning both would be good, but banning the swords would have people on our side. Oh, sorry, banning the Red Youth would mean that the Nationalists are more likely to agree with us in Congress, so that's important too. Lots to consider. Since he often spoke against, so he basically was coming out with Young Swords. The Red Youth are clear to blame since they triggered it. They struck first, so obviously there would be retaliation. He's handed over the important highlight section. The investigation reveals a very troubling fact. The funding source of the Red Youth have clearly to United Quintana. This is proof they are meddling in our affairs. Exactly. Several Red Youth members ties to United Quintana, which is, if you remember, the USSR, essentially, have been detained, and the information extracted from them points to preparation for a communist uprising in Sordland. It isn't unusual for the superpowers to influence other nations, but I think this case is a little far-fetched. The left lacks popular support in Sordland. Nia eagerly lifted her hand. I motion for her to speak. I went over the report in detail. It would be wrong to jump to the conclusion about a clear foreign interference yet. United Quintana has humanitarian and cultural ties to many countries, including Sordland. I like your judgment. You're a bit of an idiot, and I'm going to try and usurp me, so you suck. Nearly 3 decades ago, they funded General Rickard and tried to establish a communist dictatorship of the country. If it was not for Colonel Sol, there we would have been a real crisis. She took a sip from a glass of water and continued. Our police chief, Karl Greiser, that's this guy, who, again, he just really looks a lot like our child. That's okay. Our police chief, Karl Greiser, has linked the funding channel to United Quintana consulate in Benfi. As we all know, the enemies of Sordland are many, but we have many threats inside the country. As a government, we have all the power to deal with any threat. Yep, absolutely. If we give up essential freedoms to purchase temporary security, we deserve neither freedoms nor security. It's debatable. But yes, I know that more security and surveillance cause... We know what more security and surveillance cause this country under President Sol. I can't not read today. Let's not forget that President Sol, God bless him, brought stability after a long period of bloodshed and chaos. But moving on, our highest internal threat comes from the estimated 20,000-strong Bluish Freedom Front led by the imprisoned Dulanarge. They are a strong political organization, now a militant force that is trying to incite racial violence. They make a lot of noise but have little substance. Barking dog doesn't bite. Are they supported by our Bluish citizens? Are they cooperating? I kind of ignored the Bluds, which are basically just a stand-in for the Kurds, because the model is based heavily on Turkey. Are they supported by our Bluish citizens? To some extent. Luckily, they couldn't attract a wide audience of Bluds. They could certainly attract thousands of anti-Bluish sentiments. Reds in Sordland again. At least pointed to page 3 in the report. Our intelligence intercepted 2 crates filled with weapons close to the Rumberg border. They were filled with military-grade Ka-74s. Oh my god. AK-47. Not Ka-74s. We expect that more of these have been smuggled in since a group of Bluds were caught with these guns at a checkpoint not far away. Rumberg has been acting aggressively in the region for a long time. I'm not surprised they would attempt to weaponize the Bluish people against us. This is worrying. Very worrying. I agree. We don't want the Blues just going absolutely crazy on us, because we're going to be forced to make a bunch of very bad choices that are going to affect them and deal a decent amount of distrust coming from them. So, we will see. We will see. We cannot let anyone meddle with our internal stability. Yeah, because we're gonna go to war. That's gonna happen. We are gonna build up our military. We wanna try and fight and win here. So, the gang violence is threatening the Nargis and Aganland regions. 2 prominent organized crime families are at war, and the potential bloodshed is real. Why can't we just arrest them? Primary reason is deception and corruption. They infiltrated several government offices and the police. That's how they can evade us. They are playing with fire. I want them gone for good. While I would agree that makes Sordland a better place, it will not be easy. These gangs exist because corruption is so common in our country. They buy our police officers and slip by checkpoints. Shall be honest with you, with our current capabilities, we may not be able to present the further arming of separatists while maintaining order in Bergia, Nargis, and Aganland. Pardon me, sorry. You promised to increase Sordland's security and law enforcement budget. You must keep this promise. We'll keep that promise, especially in light of all this information. We will rid our country from separatists and violent thugs if you can support us. I wish you would stop using the words thugs, Liz. The real problem is corruption, which is fueling the gang violence, and is likely the reason why all these weapons were smuggled in. A higher budget could help us end that. Valid points. Corruption is the root of all evil, after all. You may see an attack of the inch with persistence, Mr. Morna. These threats seem more direct than a few bribes. They are, and they need all the attention they can get from our administration. So there's going to be 2 different police forces that we get the choice to fund. One of them is the anti-corruption one, which is basically her at the charge, and the other one's like the state police, like secret police. So we definitely want the secret police, because we're going to be going full dictator mode. Hopefully we can get that going. We will have to see. Well, this concludes topics for the internal portion. Thank you for the upgrades, Miss Graff and Miss Norna. Thank you for the overview. Have a good day. Till next time. 2 ministers left the room. We take a short break before continuing the second part. Upon invitation, Josef Lancia, along with 3 high-ranking officials from the Ministry of Defense, walked into the room. One of the men was none other than General Kruger, the chief of the... Alright, so General Kruger is like the only dude with blue eyes. Do military guys just have blue eyes? Like, I feel like they're the only 2. But okay, also, Vulcan Kruger, right? Right? You see what I'm saying, right? Wait, shit. Peter and Vulcan look very similar. You know, that might be part of the art style, but I like to think that there's just a conspiracy where, like, one dude is just sleeping with, like, hundreds of people, and now his entire family is in control, and they're basically forming the shadow government. I like to imagine that. Joseph, welcome. I brought General Kruger. Due to escalations on our borders, General Kruger stepped forward and saluted. He had a strong jaw with sharp cheekbones. His tall stature, uniform of metals, combined with his deep and intense stare, made him look threatening. He's in his 70s. Yeah, he only had a bulky body that was a result of his commando training. Not only was he the second most decorated officer in Sordland, he was also the longest serving. Salute him. He smiled at the gesture and bowed his head in respect. Joseph tapped his foot impatiently. He seemed uneasy with the presence of another high-ranking official in the room. Lucien Glade. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to this significant gathering. Let's begin. Joseph and Vulcan took their seats, blah, blah, blah. Mr. President, the situation at the western and northern borders towards Rumberg is very tense. We are observing deployments of divisions closer to our border. Rumberg has been acting increasingly expansionist in the past decades and also interfered in Magnolia, but now they have turned their sights on us. This concerns me very much. We are observing these threats actively. Our contingency plans are ready. It seems they want to increase the pressure both externally and internally. Mr. President, if I may. Please, General. The picture is becoming clear. The latest information totalitarian, blah, 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 they're active military weapons, blah, blah, blah. They're building up dudes on the border. The entire situation was analyzed by our general staff and our prediction of future territorial incursion by Rumberg. I have complete trust in the general staff. The threat is exaggerated. Let them come. We will give them hell. I share your enthusiasm. We draw strength from the brave sons and daughters of Sordland, but we won't be able to stand against them right now. I require an increase in the military budget to enlist more soldiers. Only then, if we can stand strong against our enemies, the enlarged armed forces will hold them at bay. Vulcan's right. We do need to do an increase in the military budget. Although we don't see eye to eye on exactly how to spend the budget, that much we agree on. I have concerns about Rumberg too. We need strong allies to withstand such superior power, for they are our nemesis. That is an understatement. Times are changing and war is coming, Mr. President, whether we like it or not. We must be prepared. During the election, you said nothing about focusing on our military. I ask you to reconsider and increase the military budget. The future of the safety of Sordland is in our hand. Oh shit, you know what? I think I chose military the first time, and then I might have chosen law enforcement again when I did my, reset. So, oops. Defense of our nation is more important. Hell yeah. Our forces would crumble under a decrease, and Rumberg would be much more compelled to exploit our weaknesses. Our country hasn't fallen any invading force for 200 years. You cannot let it happen, Mr. President. We should find regional allies like Vogg's Land or Lesbia to deter Rumberg. There are several options on the table. Rumberg wouldn't attack any nation allied with any superpowers. Sordland must stand on its own 2 feet and be able to defend itself. Of the same mind, sir. We stand strong as we've always done. Everyone fell silent. Soldier entered the room. Let Josef Lenka know that the call had come through from the ministry. Excuse me, Mr. President. Josef left the room to answer. If you don't see enter the room again, his expression had changed. There's been a Rumbergian military activity close to the Narbel border. I just spoke with a local command. Oh, shit. Vulcan, we gotta go to the ministry and get further updates. Understood. We'll tell you what's going on. Go and show them the might. Hail, Sordland, hail! Everyone's getting out of there. Rumberg is already testing. There's reports from the interior indicate inference to southern borders. Communists, nationalists, Blutish rebels. Rumberg expansionism. What was next? Sordland has always been a key piece in the chessboard of the global rivalry. In the last recent years, there was no such aggression from Rumberg, not at these levels at least. All it takes is one starting to spark the flames of war. The phone rang. Rumberg decided to close their consulate in Latchaven. Uh-oh. Alright. Yikes. This is, not gonna be great right now. Okay, what else do we have to do? We probably have to react to the unrest. So there's a choice here. We're gonna end the day at the Moon Palace first. It is late in the evening. Moon Palace is finally getting somewhat quiet when I return to my office at the top. I eagerly approach my chair and sprawled out on it. Been an exhausting day, just like every day. Light a cigarette. I lit a cigarette and smoked for a while. It helped take my mind off my work stress for a minute. The smoke slowly rose towards the tall ceiling. I glanced downwards out the window and saw Serge and the guards waiting for me by the main gate. I heard a couple of knocks on my door. My secretary, Olivia Suno, entered. Mr. President, Mr. Tusk is here to see you. You had a meeting with the Lothar sportsman. I'm so sorry for not giving you proper notice. Do your job properly next time. Do you expect me to keep track of everything myself? I was just about to leave, maybe. Do your job properly next time. He's already here. What do you want me to tell him? Well, he's coming in. This guy knows what's up. A unit, Mr. Tusk. I had met Sordland's most prominent businessman once or twice, but never alone. He had large jowls, blindingly shiny shoes, and the air of someone who was used to getting his way. Anything to drink, Mr. Tusk? Water? Whiskey? Cognac. Preferably from before you were born, sweetheart. I'll check the supply room. Olivia backed out of the office, shooting me an apologetic look as she did so. Walter hung up his hat, which I could see was lined with mink. He fixed me a long, hard stare that broke into a toothy grin. Good evening, Mr. President. I'm here to congratulate you. We both sat down. I don't know why he sounds like that. Business partners and I, whatever, we wish you a successful term. Get to the point, Mr. Tusk. I see you're not very welcoming. I'm here to congratulate you. Please. That being said, there's concerns about the people are at, which would like to take the opportunity to clear up. I am listening. This ruined state of the economy has started to influence everyone in this decision hit hard. I bought these Gillespie, the best cigars in the whole world. Smoke cigar. Now we're talking, a man who knows pleasure and business. Walter grabbed himself a cigar, lit it up as well, looked out at the city sceneries. We both puffed away. I heard that you purchased stock from Armadine Industries in Arcasia. Smart buyer. They're developing new gadgets that are going to be profitable. With risk comes reward. I expect a very good return on investment. You have a keen eye for business. I'll buy a couple of thousand shares, too, to expand my portfolio. Hopefully investments pay off for both of us, President. Sides wandered away for a minute. The assassination and the troubles between the left and the right are worrying, but the recession is the root cause of these issues. For us, it is worrying to see that you have decided to promote a planned economy. The recession was triggered by the market reforms of Alfonso, which you couldn't finish due to being heavily obstructed by the establishment. Economics needs long-term strategy and mid-term adjustments to promote growth and stability. My father once said... One sec, sorry. Computer just crapped out for a moment. Hello, are we still back? There we go. Father once said you have to finish what you started. He is right. This isn't class because Alfonso didn't finish the reforms he started. Look what happened to him. He leaned forward in the chair. The high-speed rail investment was a great decision. The business logistics will improve and boost the economy once finished. The intention of the administration is to boost the economy. Our goal was to focus on the needs of businesses. The greater Holstein and Gilsard regions need better links. Our goal was to focus on the needs of businesses. Glad to hear that because the unemployment rate won't decrease otherwise. We can be close allies. The group can help you get Sordland out of the recession. We could be the key problem to solve your term and could even determine your re-election. Let us start with a gesture of goodwill. Soon the investment project contract will be awarded to one of three main contenders. He pulled that check out of his pocket and slid it towards me. The personal bank deals were listed on it with a deposit of 500 Sordis Ren ready to be transferred. This is 6 months of a president's salary. If the contract is somehow... 500,000, sorry, not 500. If the contract is somehow awarded to Underhall Construction, that would not only work hard and deliver, but also do it on time. What do you think, Mr. Rayne? Wouldn't that be good? He's put an index finger on the check. There was a noise by the door. Olivia Suno was standing there holding a tray with a bottle and 2 glasses. I'm so sorry, Mr. Tusk, but all I could find was a 1942 Savigny. I hope that's acceptable. She quickly put out the tray on my desk and walked out. Tusk eyed her as I left. Remind me to visit your office more often. Oh, gross. Do we have a deal? Oh, Whoa, okay. Alright, last time I didn't take the bribe, you know, I think we can, we can probably take this. I'm just trying to think here. Oh, boy. Fuck it, we'll take the offer. Donations. He grinned and let out a laugh. The check was right behind his hands. He pulled back his hands and I took the check. This deal will also show the group the administration hasn't left the private sector behind. Our goal is to unite every stakeholder to improve the economy. The administration will maintain a good relationship with the group. Yeah. Glad to hear that. We will be keeping in touch. We will be keeping it... Okay, I'm not sure if that was supposed to be twice, unless maybe this is a sign of some mental decline to come. He smiled before closing the door and leaving. I gathered my things and prepared to finally head home. As I walked out, I noticed Olivia still there, covering up her typewriter for the evening. Of course I didn't. How could you even ask me that? Don't worry your pretty head about it. She and I took a moment to look out over the lights of the city before heading to the elevators. Okay, so we've taken the... Holy shit. Okay, that's good. We've taken the bribe. The economists... Number 1 construction. Okay, so we are going to have to choose them, otherwise... that's not going to be good. Okay, well that's going to severely fuck up our budget. That's fine. Back to the unrest. Call for restraint, visit the affected towns and persons, expand the police by deploying all recruits in training. Okay. Call for restraint on national television, visit affected towns in person. That's bad because the corruption is just going to get worse. This is horrible. Probably best to do this. We'll go visit some towns. That has probably made some decisions. I visited the towns most affected. Oh, okay, we already visited them. Okay, cool. So, like, that's already been done. Finalization of the L1 railway contract. Economic relief plan. Meeting with Marcel Caranti. Yeah, we'll do this one first. We are headed to the meeting location set by Marcel Caranti, who looks like this. The motorcade was made up of the most confidential and trustworthy team. After a few hours of driving along River Esquel, we took a turn before entering Conriat, the darkness setting in as we drove up to the hill. Where are we, Serge? We are nearing the HOS Country Club, Mr. President. We will be there shortly. We arrived and the big iron gates of the city club opened. It was a huge and outright extravagant. The main building, inspired by lesbian architecture, was lit from all sides. It was rather chilly. I was approached by Peter Vector and Lucien Gallade. Peter Vector, I hope the journey was comfortable. The coach was very remote indeed. Anything to keep me away from home. Wasn't bad. Looking forward to this meeting. I can't think of comfort over my friend. Wasn't bad. I'm looking forward to this meeting. Sure, we'll be worth our time. He's Caronti after all. Let's get personal. Let's. Enter the building. We enter the main building. After opening the marble engraved wooden door, we were greeted by two tall women. The receptionist led us to the meeting room upstairs. Marcel was surrounded by the window looking outside at the beautiful complex. He turned around to have a quick look at us both. He was a really handsome man with fair hair. He walked towards me with his hand reached out for a handshake. He had a firm grip. It is such a pleasure to meet you in person, Mr. Caronti. I appreciate your efforts to reach out for a mutually beneficial friendship. Thanks for hosting us. I admire your father very much. May he rest in peace. Indeed, your kind... Or welcome, sorry. My God. Making up words today. Your kind words have touched me, Vice President. He was indeed a great man. May you rest in peace. He was a true entrepreneur. Please accept our condolences. We are saddened. We are very saddened. He would have been very happy to hear this from you, Mr. President. It's time to look forward. Let's talk about our bright future. Yes, there is much to discuss. Oh, I've heard about your meteoric rise at the HOS. We're flattering him. He likes us. I say this because you have gone against the odds and survived. I respect that more than anything. Politics, the ladder the higher you climb, the more chaos is around you. Marcel gently pointed at the seats. We sat down around a gigantic table. Before speaking, he knocked on wood. The past months have been tumultuous, to say the least. I'm glad to hear you and your family were unharmed at the shooting. The whole incident must have been a shock for the kids. They aren't used to what we lived through back in the late 20s. I still remember when my father took us out of the country. It became too dangerous in Connery at.